Hello everybody and welcome to our second episode. Today we're looking at the Chinese Grand Prix from the Shanghai International Circuit for what was round 2 of the Formula 1 season, and for the first time this year, a sprint weekend. Well, with only the one practice session for the weekend, Friday consisted of FP1 and then the sprint quali in the afternoon. Lewis Hamilton grabbed his first pole and in a blast from the past, lined up against his old foe Max Verstappen on the front row of the grid. In what was a race of tyre degradation, Lewis showed why he's a tyre whisperer and nursed the SF25 to his first win for Ferrari and their first win for the season. Oscar Piastri stalked and then passed Max for second, with Verstappen coming home in third. Now, after they claimed pole and then converted to a sprint win, you'd think that Ferrari would be in a good position come qualifying for the main race. Wrong. And that's where you'd be wrong. Very wrong. The SF25 showed why it's going to be a long season for the Tifosi and limped its way to 5th and 6th positions behind McLaren in 1st and 3rd, with George Russell in 2nd and Max coming in 4th. Piastri got off to a great start in the race, with Norris clearing George into turn 1. And although both drivers got past Max, Lewis and Charles did Ferrari things, making contact as Charles understeered into turn 2, damaging his wing. While McLaren cleared away in front, Alonso retired due to an overheating brake drum, his second retirement from the 2 races, as the rest of the pack concentrated on nursing their tyres, suggesting the race would be predominantly a one-stopper. Esteban Ocon channeled his inner Kevin Esch for his own version of Pass on the Grass to take Kimi Antonelli in this week's nomination for Overtake of the Year.
And a back marker as well to negotiate as 2 wheels on the dirt's going to get the lead.
Somehow Charles, with the damaged wing, caught and eventually, after some negotiations over the team radio, passed Lewis to head to Russell in 3rd. Hamilton would stop a second time and, despite putting in some quick laps towards the end of the race, couldn't quite get back to Max. Verstappen would eventually take Charles for 4th, with Ocon a surprise finisher in 7th. 7th would become 5th, but we'll talk about that soon. They say to win a world championship you need a little bit of luck, and perhaps Lando got that on Sunday. Had the race been an extra 1 to 2 laps longer, then his brake issues could have led to an early retirement and no points at all. So Oscar would win ahead of Lando, giving McLaren their 50th 1-2 finish. George Russell would again do absolutely nothing for the weekend and score a podium ahead of Max and then the 2 Ferraris. So to the post-race. Now, since I started CNK, I've tried to hide my passion for all things Ferrari and tried to be as bipartisan as possible. But Sunday night was hard to take. Very, very hard to take.
Emotional, damn it!
Following post-race scrutineering, both Ferraris were found to be illegal, with Charles 1 kilo underweight and Lewis's skid plate being 0.5 mil too worn, meaning both Ferraris were disqualified. Pierre Gasly would also be found to be underweight, meaning that Ocon would finish 5th and Behrman in 8th, promoting both Stroll and Sainz into the points. Now look, I know rules are rules, but the double disqualification made a bad start to the season even worse for the Scuderia, and one leaving them 5th in the Constructors going to round 3 and making it extremely hard to pick back. Now, in a season with regs changing for next year, how long before we see Ferrari put the Q back in the rack for 2025 and focus on the 2026 car? Definitely going to be a long season, and with new updates coming all the time, is that something that Ferrari's going to stop doing to maybe focus on next year? Only time will tell. Now for some Chinese takeaways, and no, I don't mean the beef and black sauce. The biggest elephant in the room post-Shanghai has to be the Liam Lawson situation. One of the reasons his vlog is later this week was due to the waiting to see if Red Bull did actually pull the rug from Liam Lawson or if they'd commit to him. Personally, I think he's gone. Despite the fact the car's set up for Max, his quality results have been quite poor, and a team like Red Bull just don't sit back and allow that to happen. Well, unless your name's Sergio Perez. Yuki Tsunoda looks like the likely replacement, and I personally hope he can drag the donkey-like RB21 into some high positions. For Liam, he gets to go back to racing bulls and hopefully show some more pace again. The other takeaway is a contrast between Ferrari and McLaren. In what was tipped to be a throwback title fight between 2 of Formula 1's oldest teams this season's looking more and more like a McLaren benefit. Ferrari really need to get that car sorted out by Suzuka, or they may as well throw 2025 into the bin. So we look forward to one of the best tracks on the calendar and the one that the drivers and fans alike love. Suzuka is one of the 5 tracks I think should be untouchable in an F1 season, and hopefully we get another cracking instalment of F1 in 2025. Well, that's it. Until next time, thanks again for watching. Hit the like and subscribe down there if you've enjoyed what you've seen. And don't forget to check us out on Instagram at CNK Motorsport. Until next time, ciao.